Effectiveness of online learning in terms of time management and internet connection. Contents: Introduction, Statement of the problem, Significance of the study, Scope and delimitation, RRL and methodology. Introduction: The COVID-19 pandemic, which starts in the year 2019, that stops most of the establishment to stop operating, and the majority of human activities that we normally do has been limited, especially schools, where a lot of students go by to learn some knowledge they wish to acquire in starting their career. On the other hand, as everyone is affected, also the traditional education system, which is face-to-face learning, becomes impossible. As a result of this has hindered students' educational pursuits, millions of students around the world are affected. Some students have already given up their student status and started to look for jobs they can handle. And one of the most difficult problems to solve is the availability of digital devices, and internet connectivity has become a challenge when it comes to learning. We all know that not all was fortunate enough to afford strong and fast internet connection, especially students who are present from rural areas. Nowadays, we all know that online learning has become the new mean of study, as they call it new normal with the threat of COVID-19 arises, and the safety of students has become vulnerable in the traditional education system. In view of the fact that the student who had to adapt a new learning environment struggled greatly as a result of the shift to online learning. One of the major consequences was the students who must adjust their time of household chores at the same time, activities that they are tasked to do and submit on time. Sometimes, student also sacrifices their time to sleep to do some unfinished activities. As a result of shifting to online learning was the amount of time students spend on digital devices each day has unavoidably unavoidably increased as a result of virtual learning, the newsletter 2020. We all know that there are negative effects of using too much devices, such as physical and mental costs by lack of sleep, according to Dr. Laura Sterney 2020. Thus, it leads students to have low energy the time they walk in the morning, and their time management gets mixed up due to activities suddenly handed to students, and thus that have short passing time. While other parents don't understand the reason their child can finish even given house chores, and they are being scolded for the reason of student have poor time management and keep the pace they're aiming to achieve in the
Statement of the problem. How the effective online learning is after implementation as presented by the two groups of respondents. What are the problems encountered by the two groups of respondents in online learning is to management and internet connection in terms of A. Performance, B. Balancing, C. Availability, D. Efficiency, and the last, connectivity. What is the significant difference on the perception of two groups of respondents into online learning in terms of A. Year level, B. Age, C. Course, and D. Address?
Significance of the study. This study will focus on the effectiveness of online learning in terms of time management and internet connection, as we are in an era that technology is growing and it has become part of our livelihood, especially in school. School administrator. The result of the study may serve as a guide for school administrator to develop and support innovative approaches in online teaching to the needs of the students and instructors to enhance and use technology in teaching. Researcher. The result of the study may serve to motivate and challenge the researcher to continue on discovering, exploring, developing, and initiating the utilization of innovative approaches in teaching that are deemed to be more effective and efficient in teaching. For future researcher, the result of the study may serve as basis for the related studies for future researcher to be conducted.
Scope and delimitation. The study will focus on aims to broaden the thoughts on online learning in terms of time management and internet connection, as we are in an era that's growing for Isabela State University Kawayan campus, educators and students only. The mobile learning platform will be limited on the utilization of the instructors, and students of Isabela State University only. It does not cover other campuses.
RRL. College students' use and acceptance of emergency online learning due to COVID-19. According to Patricia Hermigia, 2020, the transition to online learning show how students' attitudes, motivation, self-efficiency, and technological use all play a role in their cognitive engagement and academic success. Participants also favored face-to-face instruction over internet instruction. This study offers recommendation for increasing the acceptance of emergency online learning. Time management and procrastination during online learning. Learning is carried out online through a group's learning management system or LMS platforms, and there are other applications that supports the online learning process. Online learning is applied at every level of education in Indonesia, including higher education. One of the higher education institution in Indonesia is namely Putra Indonesia Yiptik Padang University also implements online learning or lectures at Putra Indonesia Yiptik Padang University. There is already a platform for e-learning lectures so that the lecture process during the COVID-19 can be adjusted. Time management skill and student performance in online courses. According to Mertsin et al. 2015 argued that there is a relationship between students' time management behavior, the development of time management, and online education. Some studies have not found significant differences between online learning and face-to-face learning in terms of learning gains related to grades and motivations, according to Rees and Butler 2017. In fact, Soltanimer et al. 2019 considered that the superior of online method for teaching theoretical topics and their equal efficacy with the traditional method for the instruction skills.
Research design. This study, descriptive research design, is defined as a research method that describes the characteristics of the population that is being studied, as was used where data was collected from the respondent at one point in time. This design always focuses more on what of the research subject rather than the why of the research subject. Bobby, 1990. The data for this survey was further collected at the Isabela State University, Kawayan campus.
Respondent of the study. The respondent of the study is composed of people in the School of Isabela State University year 2022. One of the vital processes to keep this study successful. All of these participant was selected through random sampling. This sampling method is conducted where each member of a population has a capability to become part of the sample. The chosen respondents are containing of 100 respondents from selected class in each department. Those respondents was chosen by researchers because they are suitable and applicable in the study.
Data gathering tool. The researcher will be gathered all the necessary information and data that will serve as a guide. This will serve as the reference of the researcher in completing the data and information needed. Close-ended survey questionnaire which we will use the categorical survey questions in dichotomous multiple choice questions or checkbox question and can be answered with a simple yes or no or a specific piece of predefined information in the paper. The name, age, section, and address will be included, and the internet name used at home.
Data gathering procedure. For the data gathering procedure, the researcher performs the subsequent steps for data collection. To collect the data for the study, the researcher will employ the indirect questionnaire approach. The procedure for collection as follows. For the data gathering procedure, the researchers perform a subsequent step for data collection to collect the data for the study. The researchers will employ the indirect questionnaire approach. The procedure as collection are as follows. Number 1. To make the study more legal, a letter will be sent to the school principal asking for permission to perform the study. Number 2. The researchers will prepare all the materials needed in performing the study including questionnaires and other materials needed to acquire related informations. Number 3. The researchers will approach the respondents and float the survey. The researchers will then compile their responses. Number 4. All the data gathered will be examined by the researchers. Number 5. The data will be interpreted by the researchers.